Hey, welcome out, sports fans. I'm Nate. He's Brandon. We're the St. Louis Syndicate, and we are here on Sandman Sports talking championship week. We got the road to the Super Bowl we're going to map out for you. But, Brandon, before we do that, how was your week?
The Niners screwed me. Other than that, things went pretty well. When we left off, I was pretty fervently on Buffalo and Seattle.
Yeah.
And then Saturday morning, decided to flip-flop both of those.
Yeah.
The Denver pick worked out for me. San Francisco just got dog-walked.
Yeah.
And so, that was rough. How'd yours work out?
Yeah, it worked out pretty well. I stuck with the philosophy of pick who I think's going to win and let the cover take care of itself, and it worked out okay. Even in this particular instance, I lost the Buffalo game. I thought they were going to win. If they would have won, they would have covered. So I felt like my philosophy was right.
Yeah.
But I was on the side of Seattle, which we talked about. We agreed extensively that Seattle was the right play, even though you flipped.
Yeah.
And I was on Chicago, even though I was worried because Matt Stafford in overtime was trying to throw a touchdown instead of just kicking the damn ball to win it and go to the NFC Championship game. But
it was inexplicable.
I couldn't believe it.
I get that they were throwing down the rail on both sides.
Yeah.
So it's harder to pick those off. But you're throwing it a long way. And if you goof a little bit, you just gave up your chance. I was on the Rams. So I was like, please let this guy come down with the ball. But I don't know that I've ever seen somebody do that in the playoff. Fucking week 6.
Yeah.
Sometimes you take a couple of, shots down the, whatever. But with your whole season on the line,
he's throwing them.
That was crazy.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
That was wild. So yeah, that one didn't work out for me. That was a smaller pick that I kind of put off to the side. I put almost all of my needs on Saturday and just flipped the wrong coin. You would think that if your job was mostly using your obliques to twist your body, that it would be important if you injured one of your obliques. Now, it turns out Seattle can put 41 points on the board while Darnold throws 11 passes.
Yeah.
So wasn't that big of a deal,
right,
as it turns out. And if Walker turns into Superman and, off we go. So, that was unfortunate. But now we have 2 very chaotic games to stare into this week.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to take a look at that. I'll be interested to see here in a few minutes. We'll get into the breakdowns of both games and talk about some of the fun stuff. I really want to pick your brain when we get over there. Not yet, when we get there. Okay. About how Bo Nix injured himself. I have yet to see video evidence that the man broke his foot on the football field. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like he was doing a locker room Buffalo jump through the table thing in celebration and broke his foot, but that's just me being speculative.
Well, you want to talk about that piece of it now?
Yeah, we can. Why not? Right? We teased it. So let's just bring it out.
Yeah. So I didn't hold on to the video because I assumed it would be everywhere. But there was definitely a play, the last play of the game, which supposedly is the play after he broke his ankle, that you could tell he was gingerly walking on it. So I couldn't see where he injured it.
Yeah.
But it did seem, as he was coming off the field the last time, that he was clearly favoring it.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen that clip again, though.
I did see that clip online. It was on Twitter.
Okay.
I've seen it a couple times. It was the last play, not the second to last play. The second to last play was a kneel down. That one didn't make any sense. But what I couldn't understand is he stood over on the sidelines. They kicked the field goal. He was happy. He jogged over, shook hands. Didn't look like he was favoring it too much during the handshake.
No, that is, I think,
adrenaline?
That is the definite. Yeah, I think it's just these guys get hit by dudes that weigh 150 pounds more than them at full speed all day. And I think that, yes, you can have a compound fracture and there's no way to just like adrenaline your way through that.
Yeah.
But something like an internal break in your ankle that you go, "Boy, that hurts." And you kind of walk gingerly and you get to the sideline and you kind of stand on it for a second and you go, all right, I can walk around. And you go like, I bet it's gonna pass. And so you just kind of walk around and do your things, and then you go and you sit down, and somebody unwraps your ankles and it balloons up, and you're like, oh shit, like whoops, okay, somebody get an X-ray machine,
Whoops.
and like, yeah, I'm sure a trainer just like unwrapped his entire lower leg, and like it just immediately expanded, and he was like, that's right, that hurts. And then they're like, clearly, you know. So I did like, for being not much of a conspiracy theory guy, I did enjoy all of the conspiracy theories on Monday about people trying to piece all of these videos together
Yeah.
and just go like, why are you acting completely normal during all of this period? And
Right.
then your coach has to come back out and like round the reporters up and go, let me tell y'all something because I don't need this leaking.
Yeah.
That was very odd, especially that being the first of 2 games.
Yeah.
So I have moved on to the next game and went back to drinking and like eating and whatever we were doing. And then all of a sudden, I don't think I had my phone. I think they put it up on the screen during the second game
Yeah.
and went like, hey, this is some breaking news or something like that. And I was like, that's very odd.
Yeah.
That's that's a weird outcome, and it just immediately deflating for both teams. It's very very odd scenario, but I do think I don't know. Like when you watch that sweep where he goes over and kneels, you don't ever really see either
He didn't
his
hop
foot hang
funny. He
up
didn't
anywhere.
wince. He didn't
Yeah,
anything.
yeah,
It's
it's
odd.
very odd,
I
very
don't know.
odd.
Well, let's talk about another dude that got the hell beat out of him. This guy came out on top too, though. Mr. Mendoza, man, which is my humble opinion. We're gonna call him the number one draft pick.
Yeah,
Mark Davis was there. Tom Brady was there. This guy kind of is a winner. He's got that personality that they're gonna like. I don't know if he fits Raider Nation. He's a little bit of a holy individual, which I appreciate. Um, you know, uh, I'm on Team Jesus myself, but he's very, very vocal about it. And that's kind of opposite of the Raiders. The Raiders are kind of like, argh.
he is Cuban though,
Yes, true.
which is like obviously the Raiders coming from the West Coast, it's more Mexico,
Yeah,
South America,
nah,
Hispanic
yeah,
sort
okay.
of fans.
I'll roll with that.
But I think you're gonna have a lot of legacy Raiders fans that are very into a Mendoza Raiders jersey. So I
Oh,
I think that part of it's gonna fit pretty well. I do think he is a little clean cut and not so much spiky shoulder pads and
he's not really
face paint and
Jim
stuff.
Plunkett getting his ass beat, smoking a
Yeah,
cigarette in the sidelines.
yeah. Yeah, there's not so much the Al Davis Raiders,
Yeah,
which, to a certain extent, they moved to Vegas,
little
nice
cleaner.
$1 billion stadium,
Got Tom Brady
those sorts
involved.
of yeah. So, the Raiders aren't even really the Raiders like they were when they were, in California for all those
Yeah,
years. So,
right.
we'll see how it works out.
Let me give that kid
I'm more
credit, man.
worried about his safety
He took a
than,
beating.
yeah. Well, the beating is a little bit different when you get to the NFL
Yes.
and you have the offensive line that the Raiders have. Hopefully, there's a very clear plan to both get him and then some offensive linemen.
Yeah. Because they got a running back.
Yeah,
They could sign a
you
free
got a
agent, maybe sign
tight
someone
end,
or two. Yeah, they got two great tight ends. They've got
you,
some
you know.
pieces. And
Yeah,
can you imagine, though? That division is going to have Mahomes, Herbert,
Knicks.
Nix, and Mendoza. And if this
Yeah,
Mendoza even is a part of what we think he can be, that has got to be the best division of quarterbacks in football.
Yeah, yeah, it really,
I mean, I can't
yeah, I
think of another
can't.
one that's that elite.
No, no, especially if he even shows up and is, say, as good as Nick's is as a rookie. Like,
Yeah,
obviously, you can grow and he definitely has the decision making to be elite.
yes,
Like,
we'll
the
see.
speed in which he can process stuff gives him the ability and the arm talent to be elite. And now it's just, can we get him a coach? Can we get him some protection? Can we get him some tools to throw the ball to? You know,
He's
but
intelligent.
he definitely can make the throws and he can be decisive
Yeah,
and correct with his decisiveness.
yes.
That's what was so amazing about that run that I've just sat and stared at
The decision making was right
over and over
all the
again.
time. All the
Well,
time.
and just to go like, I'm going to take it as soon as everybody turns their back. I'm going to go. I can keep my feet under me. I got dudes hitting me, at different levels, and I can just work my way around and then turn my head and know there's nobody in front of me and launch myself into the end zone.
That was a heck of a play by itself. Yeah,
It's one of those runs that is going to be brought up. The only downside is that there was 9 minutes left in the game,
yeah,
right? Like there was plenty of time. Like Vince Young's run was like as the game to end the game.
yeah.
So like that will always be that next level up because of the situation. But he just had a clear run. He just
I'll tell you
cleared
what.
out a side and outran a dude. But like Mendoza being able to just step and hop over guys and spin, like that was one of the most high leverage, difficult runs I've ever seen somebody do.
And I was as impressed with his throws to that 80. I don't even
Uh
know his
huh.
name on the
Yeah.
sideline. He kept throwing
Yeah.
that
Those
damn back,
back.
that back
Uh
shoulder
huh.
thing, and just a common individual. You look at, you go, why does he keep underthrowing him? He's doing that on purpose, and that guy's hands are incredible. That guy. So if I'm the Raiders, I'm going to try to find that guy in the 6th round
Uh huh.
because I don't
Yeah.
think necessarily that he's going to be a top pick,
No,
but
he wasn't even playing at the beginning of the year.
no, he's got.
He was only playing because a guy got hurt.
I get him late, and I bring him in because
Yeah.
Mendoza's comfortable with him. They need receivers. He would be cheap. And that other guy they got on the other side is the same way. I mean, he's 5th or 6th round receivers.
Yeah.
Get the kid in there, pair him up with Bowers and those guys, and then get these guys on the outside. There could be some interesting things just protecting. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. His hands, that's the first fourth down back shoulder throw where he was airborne and he like settled the ball while he was in the air.
Yes.
Like he caught it and then like repositioned his hands around the ball while he was still falling to the ground
And that defensive back was
is
laying on him.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, well, and early on in the game, it wasn't a back shoulder, but he threw one of those screens and the guy
Yeah.
almost came and got it.
Yep.
And I was wondering if that was going to scare him away from doing those back shoulder throws.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, Miami's sitting on this. They're watching it. That dude, if he would have dedicated himself, that'd have been a pick six.
Yeah.
He was worried about the ball getting past him. He wanted to have that one hand on the receiver. So he just kind of
Yeah.
knocked it down with the other arm. But if he just would have went for the ball,
It was gone the other
I
way.
don't know, that receiver could have knocked him down before
No.
he just disappeared. So you watch that and go like, I wonder if Mendoza then goes, okay, we're going to take that out of the repertoire. But they went to fourth down and he was like, I don't know. They just go, hey, you go 10 yards down and then I'm going to throw it behind you and you just sell down the field and then just turn around. The ball's going to be, that first one, I don't even know if he saw the ball. He just put his hands where the ball was going to be and just pinned it. Yeah. So he does hit me as one of those dudes that's like, who was the other guy that ended up on Clemson that ran those crazy routes? Renfro.
Oh, Hunter Renfro.
They drafted him way late, graduated high school or college with a bald spot, and people were just like, what are you, off-brand Edelman sort of thing?
Yeah.
And it's like, no. Like this guy has hands and he runs elite routes and there is plenty to do in the NFL if
Yeah.
you can do that and take a hit.
Yeah.
And it remains to be seen if a guy that size, this guy that size, can take those hits. But if you can run those back and forth routes kind of in the first third and take a hit from a linebacker, you are going to make plenty of money in the NFL.
I mean, he's not going to stretch the field. He's not going to,
No.
but he's going to find zones, sit in them, do different things. He's, if there is going to be games, he's definitely not going to be a fantasy player because there's going to be games that, like, if they're running man the whole game, he's not going to do as well. He's going to do better against his zone because he can find holes and sit.
Yeah.
I think Miami's defensive back. I'm a little surprised from a play calling perspective that Indiana, when that guy jumped that route, I would have been tempted the next series to come back, pump it, and throw a squirrel behind him. And
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
Indiana has a lot of tape of throwing that, which is why they jumped it so bad. So why
Sure.
wouldn't you just come and to me, that means that to me that means that they had a little bit of respect or fear for the speed of Miami's defensive backs, that guy wasn't going to be able to beat him. They felt like he was going to recover fast enough that wasn't going to be a wide open throw, or they could never get it where the safety was always going to be over the top. There was something there because that is just way too clean of a play when they jump like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe that's just, I took Miami and the points. For watching that entire game and feeling like I was never in danger of not covering.
Right.
I also never really thought Indiana was in danger of losing the game.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
It was kind of that thing where it's just like they scored and then Miami scored to stay close. And then they scored and Miami scored. And like, even when they blocked that punt, that you went like, oh, that's rough. And then you give the ball right back to Miami and they go down and they score and they close the gap again. And you just go, this is just going to be a thing where they are up by 4 to 7 points this whole way along. And it never felt like Indiana was out of control of the game.
Right.
But that Miami's defense was so good that they couldn't actually get like margin and pull away from them. And it was a very interesting a game to be that electric and to feel like the entire time that you knew exactly where it was going to go. That like,
Yeah.
hey, this is like, even when Miami had the ball at the end, you were like, I don't know how this is going to get screwed up, but it's going to get screwed up. Like, it's just like, I don't think Carson's back is going to win a natty on his own arm. Like,
No.
I thought, like, okay, you have a chance where the running back, his name just escaped me,
Number 10.
breaks one.
Yeah, they had what, 10 and 4, I don't know. They had a couple. Those running backs were both. One was a running back, one's a receiver, and they were one's that one kid. He should be a senior in high school. That Tony.
Yes,
he's a
that's
stud.
the guy,
God,
the running back.
he's fast.
And it's like, okay, he could break it, but he was running consistently for good yards, but he wasn't really like, it never felt like he was on the verge of like breaking through the second level and like getting away from everybody.
Right.
Yeah, it was a very odd game to just the entire time go, it seems like we're just playing for whether this is going to go over or not, basically.
And
we're just going to troll along here.
That in that Miami's defensive front, man, they beat the hell out of Mendoza. I mean, he got hit, and hit, and their game plan was hitting. This guy's going to beat us. He's going to beat us taking a beating, and kudos to him. He did. He took a beating.
That first fake where the dude just decided to just pop him in the chin. I mean, that's the perfect free shot for a defensive lineman to just go like, oh, you're gonna fake it. Like you're gonna sell it. Okay. I'm gonna put my helmet right up against your neck.
I'm a little
see
surprised
how
they
you
didn't
bounce
call
back.
that one. Little surprised.
Yeah. And the only thing I can think is that he was pretending like he was a runner.
Yeah.
And like that was probably the only thing that got him away with it because his head snapped back.
Oh,
when he
yeah.
took that
I
hit.
just think crown of the helmet, whether he's faking or
Yeah.
not, that's
Yeah. Yeah. But I think that was the only thing that saved him.
yeah.
Just from a visual standpoint, that when you're a ref, you see that, you go like, well, he was trying to draw the hit,
Yeah.
so we got it, and like, I don't know if we said it once we started recording or when we were talking in the pre-record, but they the entire weekend they just kind of let the guys play
They did.
through all
They
the
did.
NFL and the college game. Like there were very few, like it was very obvious penalties that were getting called and everything else. That's what I was.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if we want to go down this road, but uh,
Ah.
Allen, his center should have got called for a hold in the effing end zone, and that game should have ended on a safety Saturday night. Allen threw out of the end zone while a dude was being held in overtime.
Yeah.
The game should have been over. The
Huh.
back judge should have just threw a flag out there and been like, this is a safety. Everybody grab their cleats.
They're
We're
not
going to
going to
locker
do that.
room.
They're not going to do that.
No, they're not. But when you go down the road of like, hey, I'm going to complain about 2 obvious pass interference calls. I'm going to get real shitty when my wide receiver doesn't really secure a pass and then it gets stolen away from him. Like, you got the luckiest of all lucky, because it wasn't like it was in the middle of the line.
Right.
One dude got deep. He was by himself in Allen's face, and the guy just hooked him around the throat. And like, he wasn't being obstructed by anything. You have a back judge that at that part of the field, he's standing 8 yards from him
Yeah.
in the end zone going, oh, that guy's getting, hooked around the throat
I'm not going to throw
trying
it.
to tackle the quarterback. Yeah, and just, I'm going to let him play. And then they get to the other end of the field, and Cooks forgets that you have to secure the ball all the way through the catch, and he gets it nabbed from him, and
Everybody loses their mind.
half the country is up in arms now. Like, I don't know how to help people, but
Boy, you started that off and you were like, I don't know if we want to do this or not.
well, I just, look, every person I've heard, talk about football in the last 4 days has had an opinion about this. And it very much, here's the thing, we pick games, we give opinions to people. We are posting this on a YouTube page for Sports Pool. This is this is the gambling part that screws up everything,
Yeah.
right? Because if you don't live in Buffalo, or you're not family members with Josh Allen, and you're going, that was definitely a catch.
Yeah.
And I know who you picked in the game. And that's fine. It's fine.
That's a catch as far as I'm concerned.
But we know what side of the wager those people landed on.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was that close. If they would have called it a catch on the field, they would have had nothing to overturn it. The same as when they went and checked it in 12 seconds or what. Look, hands up, the refs, everybody should get a demerit in their file.
Yeah.
Because you stop the game, you go, I'm going to go under the hood, I'm going to let New York talk to me. I'm going to be sure that when I come back out here and I turn my mic on, that I go, hey, when he was going to the ground, he repositioned his right hand. And when he did that, the defender tore the ball out of his hands. So it's an interception. And then everybody has to shut the fuck up because the guy said it on the mic. And he said exactly what happened. Well, and they're not going to, but every person that shows some screen grab of him where his knees are touching the ground and you can't even see where his hands are, and they're like, this will forever be a catch. And all you would have to do is grab a little screen grab of the ref pulling his head out from under the little black sheet and walking over and clicking his mic on and explaining exactly what just happened. And then we could all just move on with our life.
But what fun is
But,
that if we didn't have anything to argue
well,
about?
it would give me years back on my life. I'll tell you that much.
Nobody's worried about that.
No, nobody is. That is, that is, that
Nobody's
is
worried
so
about
sure. No, that's the way the
that. Oh,
gambling gods have had these games go is very clear that
yeah.
nobody is concerned with my blood pressure over the weekends.
Not at all. Well, hey, before we jump
Ah,
into our overall scoring for the week, man, because we got to see how we're doing, what teams are still available. Just a
yeah,
spoiler alert: Brandon's 7 seed advanced. So
I thought about that the minute I made them my biggest pick of the week. I went like, this is going to go against my thoughts from a week and a half ago.
that's all right. You kind of went against your thoughts this week, but it worked out for you for the most part. You did pretty good. But we've had quite
Yeah.
the coaching carousel. So
Yes.
a lot of crazy things going on in coaching. Some good stuff, some bad stuff, some expected stuff. You and I were talking about it a little bit before in our kind of our pre-meeting, and I thought it was important because you had a couple of really good points to bring up. Um, I just kind of happened to tee it up and said, "Wow, do you think Harbaugh is wishing he'd have waited for the McDermott firing so he had a chance to coach Josh Allen?" And you had some pretty good thoughts on that. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely, I would love to get him and Stefanski in a room and go like, hey, are you guys happy with the decisions you made? Right? Because I think that Harbaugh going to New York and working out a deal where he gets to be peers with the GM is
pretty
a
good deal.
unique scenario, and it speaks to his tenure working for the NFL and his success. And I don't know if going to Buffalo when their owner clearly feels differently than the rest of the country about their now team president, that if Harbaugh would have shown up and said, hey, I like this whole idea of coaching Josh Allen, but I don't want to work for this goober over here that can't draft players. We're going to be peers. A couple of days after he got a promotion, I don't know if that flies. So I don't know which one ends up being worth more to Harbaugh, but that's kind of my thought process behind him. And then on the Stefanski side, you know, it's a little more muddier, right? He's won coach of the year twice with bad teams that overperformed. So we may find out that helping a bad team overperform is like his ceiling. And that's going to be rough for Atlanta. It would be very rough if they brought him up to Buffalo and gave him Josh Allen, and then we turned out
Oh,
that he's basically Sean McDermott. Like you may just be hiring another
maybe
guy
not as
that
good.
that's slightly above average is the best you can put out. But it's very clear that we're having a renaissance of, it's like the owners are learning something new. They used to go, hey, if I don't have a reason to fire my head coach, then I'm not going to fire my head coach. Instead of going, the only guy I can fire is my head coach. So if he is not getting the job done, we are going to move on from him.
Yeah.
And it's variance and it's an oblong ball bouncing around on the field that you can't always control.
Right.
But you can't fire Josh Allen.
No.
He's too good. And two, he's got a contract that is a real pain in the ass. You can ask Cleveland about that. They've got
Yeah.
9 quarterbacks under contract and they're stuck with all of them. So, you go, I can take this guy who is not getting the job done and move on to another guy. And the other thing that, look, we have both managed a lot of people in our life. And I think that sometimes in football, it gets lost in people. The head coach is a manager.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
If you're not, it turns out you're not good at managing people, the public doesn't necessarily see that on Sunday. But when you go into your boss's office at the end of the year and he asks you some questions
Yeah.
about how are you doing managing this team, and your answers are stupid, that some dude that's worth $1 billion goes, I guess I got to fire this guy
Yeah.
because he's blowing smoke up my ass. And like, he might be a fine tactician. And you go, look, I don't want it to get worse. And you go, maybe it gets worse. Maybe it gets better. Maybe you find the next Sean McVay.
I
You
think we
got to go
talked a little
try.
bit about that. We talked a little bit about that the other day when I was talking about Kirk Herbstreit and when
Yeah.
he said that, the 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 Hoosiers and the Hurricanes, and this was 2 weeks before they both got in the championship game. He was saying you've got to look out for teams like this because they have good leadership and they're bringing together
Uh-huh.
camaraderie. And it's yes, there's NIL, yes, there's portal, yes, that's a part of it, but you've got to have a good leader driving the ship. Okay, so let's look right now at the four teams that are in the championship games. Mike Vrabel,
Yeah.
leader, leader to the core.
Yeah.
Sean Payton, leader,
Uh-huh.
leader.
Gets
McVay,
guys to cheat for him.
yes,
Yeah. Like, such a good leader that he's like, I'd like to put some bounties on some people. And his players go, sure, boss.
yeah, whatever you say, boss.
Like, yeah. Like,
There's it's called persuasion. McVay,
yeah.
I would lean towards more tactician probably than leader, but you don't get to do what he's done year over year without having leadership ability and qualities that are in place.
No. It seems, to me at least, very obvious that he has complete control over what's going on his field.
Yeah,
That he is not caught off guard by things. He is not confused about what his players are willing to do for him.
yeah,
I mean, he took Jared Goff to the Super Bowl just by
right,
whispering in his ear before every play where to
yeah,
throw the ball.
yeah.
Like,
He's been
yeah,
doing
he
it
doesn't have his.
consistently for a long time.
Yeah,
And I don't know McDonald well, but
nah, me neither.
I can't say, hey, he's a leader, hey, he's a tactician. I can tell you this is what I know about the guy. He's got a defensive unit that's playing together. He's
Yeah,
got a team behind him that's playing as a unit, and he's got a perennial outcast as a quarterback who's having success. So he's doing
yeah,
something right.
right.
And so I'm going to lean on he's probably got some leadership qualities. We could probably even go one level back in the playoffs and start naming players in leadership. You can look at, other coaches that have had success in the league. Andy Reid, Bill Belichick, Bill Walsh, Tom Landry, Jimmy Johnson. You could talk about even Mike Tomlin, leaders of men. They are the ones that are winning. So coaches that hire owners that hire tacticians, to your point, and then are surprised 2 years later when the guy goes in and says, tell me how the team's functioning. And they start talking about how on fucking third down they didn't get their conversion. Instead of
Mm-hmm.
saying, we have a little bit of some disjointedness in the locker room, and we're going to address that by getting the appropriate personnel in place. We might have to remove some people, and there's some consequences to those behaviors. We feel we can bring the right people in. It's going to elevate the team. Ownership hears that and goes, okay, I've got the right guy. They hear we need to
Right.
convert more on third downs. They're going, no shit.
Be like, yeah, obviously. Well, here, I ran across very interesting story about Indiana, actually.
Okay.
So Signetti shows up last year.
Yeah.
He brings basically the entire JMU team with him
Yeah.
to Indiana. They still have a section of guys at Indiana that they're going to keep. So apparently, there's this guy, Mike Caddick. He's an offensive lineman for Indiana. He now works for Barstool.
Okay.
He was they brought him down to go to the national title game last night, Monday night, and Signetti gave him a shout out after the game specifically. And he said, look, I needed a guy like you who was already here to be a leader so that we could fold this team together and it could be a team. I knew I was bringing in a bunch of coaches and I was bringing in a bunch of players and I was displacing a bunch of dudes that were here. And I needed to keep some of you guys. I needed to keep the best guys. And I needed them to accept that we're going to fold these two teams together. And it's the only way that we could have succeeded as much as we did last year and put ourselves in a position to get over the hump this year. And he was like, you specifically, as like a senior offensive lineman, was the guy that was able to tie all of that together and make everything happen. And we got through an entire football season of Indiana continuing to survive and advance and just beat one team after another and talk about, we have this crazy dude that runs this team and just talks shit and they just keep winning. And you get all the way to winning the title before he goes, hey, let me tell you guys something. This is how I got it started.
Right.
I found leaders when I showed up and said, can you be leaders to new guys? You help me and the new coaches turn this all into one cohesive unit. And I think that that is, on the professional side, you hope there are more guys that have leadership tendencies at the player level, but there's really not a lot of guys that do.
No.
And actually, it goes back to the Tomlin conversation.
Yeah.
That was the thing that I was crashing out on the internet about before Brandon Cooks couldn't hold on to a football, was people just denigrating Tomlin and people trying to explain that the reason everybody loves Tomlin is because he's an exceptional leader of men.
Yeah.
And then all of the morons that picked up watching football 45 minutes ago goes, yeah, the quarterback thing and the, hey, your defense. And you have to stop them and go, have you guys ever heard of Antonio Brown or Le'Veon Bell?
Right.
Because Mike Tomlin kept those two sociopaths on the field being all pro players. And as soon as those two guys left the team, they spun out so hard that there are rap sheets now and people being sued. And like nobody makes any money anymore. Everybody's poor. Like you go there just because the only thing that matters is championships doesn't mean that the only way you get to win championships are to win championships. There's building blocks here. You have to build a team. You have to lead the men. Regardless if they are getting paid between $1 and $50 million a year, you still got to lead them. Because they're still individuals and you got to get them all rowing in the same direction. Yes.
It's all about leadership.
Some people are intrinsic leaders. You have somebody like Brady. As much as people go, Brady, he's a goober, whatever. The guy knew how to lead everybody.
Following.
A new guy shows up to the locker room, I'm going to go talk to him and go, hi, I'm Tom. And that person's going to go, what the fuck? Yes, I know you're Tom. And he's like, welcome to the team. I need you here. You're important. Please play with me. That sort of thing to go, as a leader, I'm going to bring myself down to equal level with all the rest of these humans. And as you look through these teams, you have to go, a part that you can't break down into numbers is how do these teams work together?
Yeah.
And what happens when it starts getting hard and does the leadership fall apart? And we usually don't find out about it until after the season's over.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's nobody right now. Sean Payton's the only one talking about what a team his team is. But
Yeah.
he started it in training camp, talking up how awesome his team was going to be as a team, because that's the kind of dude he is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everybody
Yeah.
else talks about how they're going to win games and yada, 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 and that sort of thing. But like, we're going to get to through this week and we're going to figure out which one of these four teams are more of a team. And that's who's going to get through to the Super Bowl.
Well, and I can promise you this. We can sit here and talk about teams and teams and teams. But at the end of the day, the leadership can only get you so far. But if you don't have the leadership, you have no opportunity for success. You're going to have some players.
Exactly.
You're going to have a few guys that can execute. But only having guys that can execute with no leadership is like having an entire battalion of army guys and you're in World War II and you're like, hey, the Russians are over there. And they're like, we're going to go that way. And you're like, no, what we're going to
Yeah.
do is we're going to form this thing and we're going to dig in some trenches and you're going to protect yourselves and we're going to flank them and we're going to do this kind of shit. And all you military people out there, I apologize. I was not in the military, so I'm saying it wrong. But at the end of the day, good leader has those
We're going to work
good
as a
or
team.
bad talented people going in the same direction, not
Mm-hmm.
that way.
Yeah. You're
You can
exactly
have a
right.
bunch of superstars going, I'm going that way. That's not how a leader works. So, yes, there is a little bit of college or pro, right? You're going to have to give the right draft pick. You're going to have to sign somebody in the portal. You're going to have to get a free agent. You have to understand the dynamics of where it works. Offensive line is a critical one. I don't understand why there's not more offensive line head coaches in the league, because those guys, to have success, have to work as a unit. They have to work in sync. They have to know who's picking up who. They are a true brotherhood within the game. They're probably the only unit that has to work in sync. Now, the whole offense has to work in sync. The whole defense has to work in sync. But I can tell you this, that if the defensive linemen don't keep the offensive linemen off of the linebackers won't have success. But the defensive lineman can still have success a little bit through rushing and blocking and getting around the edge and making a sack and having the appropriate blitz package called. For the offensive lineman, if they are not helping each other, if they're not working in unison and in sync, they're not a team, and you can see it immediately. And you never see a team hurt more than when one of those guys go down and the guy that comes in is not in sync. And
Yeah.
it's a work, and it just unbelievable, because defensive coordinators know it, right? Oh, they're not in sync, so what do? They send their blitz right over that
They
guy,
just attack that
you
guy.
know,
Uh-huh.
every time, and then you do the same thing with the corners and stuff. But I'm a little surprised that you don't see more. See, I kind of thought Mark Schlereth would have been a good head coach, um, because of the way he thought about football. You hear him a lot talking and analysis. I'm a
Uh-huh.
little surprised Saturday if he would have actually taken the time to go up through the coaching
Right.
ranks, do it the right way, not be a jackass, just stick his head in there and stick it out.
Uh-huh.
There's something about those offensive linemen that can build leadership among men. So
Yeah, I hate to
just
have a nuanced conversation and then throw something hyperbolic at the end, but I think you spend between 8 and 12 years getting the shit beat out of you, and you just go, "I'm tired." It's like, I made plenty of money. I'm gonna go commentate, or I'm gonna go
yeah,
sit down somewhere. Like, I
yeah,
like, you know, I wonder if it's that simple that you go,
might be.
the really, like, the elite offensive linemen go, "I got paid plenty. I'm good." Like,
I'm not doing it.
this
I got
hurts.
to go
My
lose
entire
150
lower body
pounds
hurts.
and play with my
Yes.
kids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You just go like, I do not want to carry my body around on a field screaming at 22-year-olds forever, and you just go, I'm gonna leave that up to these little skinny dudes that work
yeah.
out all the time.
Well,
We'll let them do it.
John Madden was a lineman. John Madden was a lineman. Art Shell was a
And
lineman. Denny
it's
Green.
very clear that when those guys get in there, they the hardest thing to do is to fully grasp what is happening on the line. because
Yeah.
there's so much technical and then that teamwork that's built into it to go, yeah, you can break down cover packages and handing off blocks and all that sort of stuff. But if you never did it or you didn't play football at a high level and paid attention to what the other guys were doing, if
Yeah.
you weren't a lineman, like it's so hard to see when you're just watching the game. Like you can obviously
Yeah.
see when a dude's screwing up because he's getting used like a turnstile. But the guys that are elite at it, you go, I think I see what he's doing. But if they actually broke it down and went like, no, no, it's very important that I have my feet like this, and you just go like, oh yeah, that makes sense. Like but I don't intrinsically know that. Like you have to
Yeah.
have a 300-pound dude try to shove past you for an hour for, your entire adult life to get all of that knowledge burnt into you. So
Yeah.
so yeah, I am surprised that there aren't more of them. And it just the first thing that jumps to mind is like those guys of all the players, like really just get the crap beat out of them every play. And you just get to the end
All
of
the
it, you go,
time.
I'm gonna go
Yep.
enjoy my money. Like I'll see you guys in a while.
Yeah. Absolutely. So interesting, right? We'll see how the coaching carousel goes. I know that was a
Oh
little bit
yeah.
off topic right here in playoff week, but I think it's good conversation to have and just understanding what these teams are going through and why certain things are happening around and how does that
It's a lot of new type of
impact.
movement for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So let's take a look, Brandon. I just want to show everybody just how good I'm doing in terms of our prediction forecasts. Um, so remember
Everybody
the
come look at
lower
how
the
awesome
score,
I
the
am.
better. The lower
Oh
the
man, you got me
score,
by
the
7
better.
points. Oh,
7
damn
points.
it.
I don't
Denver's
think
gonna
you
make it
can
to the
make this
Super Bowl,
up.
aren't they?
Yeah, yeah. So this could get even uglier. Um. So anyway, I guess I gotta click on the thing to get the teams up. Sorry, my bad. Okay, here we go. So good news is in the NFC, both of us are perfect. Our 1 and 2 are still in place. The big
Yeah.
difference happens to be in the AFC, where I still have my 1 in place and it's a 4, and your best is a 3 and a 7. Man, I don't know where, but you
Wait,
bet on them this
not
week.
to
You won
be,
money.
you know, uh, too specific about this, but shouldn't these numbers be a lot lower than 33 and 40?
Yeah, 2 weeks in a row. I'm adding up. It's a running number.
Oh, okay. I was like, you got about 8 points between all of your teams going here. I was like, I don't know. Hey,
Add it
boy,
up.
that's real rough. Okay, fair enough. So
Yeah,
yeah, so you won.
yeah. I don't think you can
Like, there's
catch
no
me,
way for me to, yeah, there's no way to catch up
but I don't
at
even
this
really know if we
point.
were playing for a game or not. But it was just
No, but
something fun to
like,
see.
you know, I'm a competitive guy. I was just like, maybe I can ride a seventh place team all the way to the Super Bowl.
And really, what matters is that 7th place team won you money this week, and that's what we do, right? We try to
Yeah.
win money. So
Oh man, you should have heard the the what the noise that I caused when he picked that ball. I was at the other end of the house, and that TV was about, well, I made it to the other end of the house to watch it a second time. So it took about 7 seconds that the TV at the other end of the house was ahead, and I saw the pick and then started doing a full on like Ray Lewis stomp through the house and made it to the living room just in time for him to pick the ball off a second time while the living room full of people went like, I don't understand what's about to happen. And he picked that ball. So
that's
so yeah,
hilarious.
that was a lot of fun.
That is fun. Oh my gosh. Well, so you brought up
Yeah.
something, a stupid story. This is funny. So Friday, I'm going to see Nate Bargatze. Have you ever seen
Oh,
Nate
perfect.
Bargatze? Yeah,
Haven't
he's
seen him
coming to
live.
town.
No. We were thinking
So
about going and it just kind of got sidetracked from it.
yeah. So Trish and I, for my 50th birthday, she got me tickets to see Nate Bargatze. My birthday was a month or so
Nice.
ago. So she said, let's go
Yeah.
see Nate. He's hilarious. Well, one of his
Oh,
skits,
yeah.
and I love this skit. I don't know if you've seen it, but one of his skits is about, I just want you to know that I'm not an athlete. A matter of fact, I'm so far from an athlete that the other day I was watching a football game and they were getting ready to get a kickoff. And I walked into my refrigerator to get a glass of water. And I got a glass of water and I walked back and I realized that a guy had ran 100 yards, scored a touchdown, did a dance, and the team had lined up to kick the extra point in the time that it took me to walk 10 feet and get a
That's
glass of water.
perfect. Yeah. That's what the start of the San Francisco game felt like, for
So
sure.
when you told your story about I was on the other side of the house
Yeah.
and I Ray Lewis stomped across, I'm thinking about
Yeah.
how long it took you to do that and how fast they actually did the interception and picked it off. So anyway, terrible
Yeah. And
story. I thought
somehow,
it was funny.
no, that's it. And then that game ended, and I was still celebrating that Denver won. We switched channels, and I immediately watched my other game go to hell, like right in front of me. I just watched
Fast.
he just lose everybody. Watch that kicker try to just straight up trip him and not succeed at it, and just go like, "Oh, this game's not going to go right." Like 11 seconds into the game, you're just like,
So
"Okay,
you had an
that
11-second celebration from
yeah,
elation
basically,
to crap.
yeah, yeah," because they like
Yeah,
timed it. I don't know if they held the kickoff, but like
they
they
did.
finished that game. They kicked the field goal. I went, "Okay, cool." I switched channels, and like San Francisco's kicker was like running towards the ball while I was switching channels. Like it was, yeah, they've got that dialed in over there at the NFL.
I'm not certain. My guess is that the game had already started and the broadcast was paused slightly. It may have only been by like a minute or
No, that
so,
could be. That could have
and
been.
they can make that up over TV timeouts and different things to get it back to
Yeah,
live action. But
yeah,
that would be my guess. But anyway,
yeah,
because it has to be close. They also build in that extra time in case there is. So normally a
a little
game's
bit of
what,
OT.
3 hours and 15 minutes, but
Yeah,
they run an extra 15 minutes just in case. So Brandon, the road to the Super Bowl, which is in San Francisco, the 49ers didn't make it. We're going to start with New England and Denver. We've already covered the Bo Nix injury.
yeah,
I've seen this line now as high as 5.5. It's 4.5 on covers. My most recent assessment on unabated when I pull them up says Denver 5.5 at DraftKings, 4.5 at FanDuel, Fanatics. So it's right between 4.5 and 5.5. We'll see what it settles
yeah,
on for our pools.
yeah.
But pretty good number. What are your numbers making it this week?
So my number, let's say we go back to like when everything's stabilized. We'll call it New England by like 3.5 points before home
Okay.
field advantage.
Okay. Before home field.
Now, yeah, yeah. What are your numbers looking like?
So I have with the home field baked in. I went ahead and made my adjustments for Stidham. And so with no Bo Nix in there, I have New England favored by 3.5. So my numbers kind of
Yeah, so it's
align. That does take into account home field advantage, but I mean it's basically a 6-point swing if you think about it
well,
for
and
me.
and yeah, like because we were out to 5.5 early in the week, and that was kind of the conversation was that it seemed like this was like a 7-point swing from Knicks to Stedham,
Yeah.
which is basically
I think
impossible,
it would have
like
probably been
mathematically.
it would have almost been a pick 'em if Knicks was playing, I think. Denver maybe
See,
by
I
half,
think Denver would
New
have
England
been
by that.
favored by like 1.5, probably.
You think that much?
I think the look ahead. I think that's how they were doing the math, was that the look ahead for, like, obviously they work out all the combinations at a time and go, hey, here's what the look ahead looks like for all the different games that could come out of 4 games from last weekend. And I think they had Denver by 1.5. And that's where they were kind of using this 7. Like, obviously you're going through the zeros. So it's not really like mathematically a full 7, but Bo Nix just isn't that good. I don't know.
That's what everybody keeps saying, except he got him there.
Well, he did. But as we saw on Saturday night, what got him there was Denver's defense just putting Josh Allen in a blender, picking
Yeah.
him off, slapping the ball out of his hands, all that sort of stuff that May kind of got lucky against Houston. Fumbled a couple of
He had
times.
some of that happen.
New England fell on every one of them. It's going to be real difficult to come up with a number that doesn't lead me to landing on Denver at this point, with what their defense was capable of doing last week, what New England has done so far in the playoffs while beating teams and covering their, well, we were kind of talking about the offensive line cohesion. New England is having trouble with that. Denver has not been. Now, Denver's run defense, or New England's run defense, has been pretty elite. But that's going to add complexity to Denver being able to move the ball with a quarterback who hasn't thrown a pass in 2 years or however the hell long. But this number is it's just too long. And I think that Denver's defense is just going to cause chaos with New England's offensive line. And I don't know that I think May's he's going to reach his level of incompetency. It's year 2.
Yeah.
You can only diagnose so much of this.
Yeah.
Where do you think you're going to end up at?
So we have to, in our leagues that we play in, we have 2 play options, right? Our top point and our second point for the 2 games. And then we have optional bonus points, turbo points, we call them. So if I have to sit on this, I think I'm going to sit on New England. And I'm going to follow my philosophy that I've been trying to follow through the playoffs of pick the winner and let the spread take care of itself. There's a reason why I think New England's going to win. I think they are a little bit better team offensively as a whole. I think they've got better receivers and outlets. Their tight ends are better. I think that May is clearly the better quarterback at this point. May's in contention for an MVP candidacy with Stafford on the other side. And when you have an MVP candidate playing against Jarrett Stidham, that I have to trust the process that this kid is going to do what he needs to do. He may not. I may suffer with that. I'm taking into fact that they have Ramondre Stevenson and Trayvon Hendrickson and a really good running game. They have a fairly solid offensive line, and they have a coach, Vrabel, who is very passionate about the trenches. I'm not saying Peyton's not. I'm saying I'm going to lean towards the trenches will be ready, and I'm going to let guys like McDaniel, who won with Belichick and who have been here before. These guys, some of these coaches have been here. They can help, and they haven't been here once or twice. I know Peyton's been there. They've been there a lot. They were Belichick's
Yeah.
right-hand guys. So
Yeah.
from a preparedness perspective, I'm going to go that way. New England's defense is not bad. They're not slouches. They're not weak. They're going to cause problems, and I don't think New England's going to make the mistakes that Denver's going to be able to capitalize on. All that being said, they're not going to be my top play. They're going to be my low play. I may
Yeah,
not press them. I probably like the under in this as much as anything,
that's very interesting.
only because I think that both teams are going to have to lean on their running games. I don't know what the weather's going to do. I'm going to have to watch the weather. If we have some weird weather in Denver, because it's going to be cold this weekend, it means that, they're going to keep handing the ball off to Ramadre. They're going to keep giving it to RJ Harvey. They're going to keep hitting Hunter Henry on the tight end dumps. They're going to keep the clock moving. The under may be a better play here for me in terms of if I want to press any turbo on this. I know 42.5 is not a lot, but that's a game of 24-13, which would end up how I think. It's a game of 21-12, which is doable, I think, in this game. 21-17 is doable. I mean, that's 4. So the under's in play for that kind of game. I don't see this thing being 35-28. This is going to be closer to the vest game. So it's going to be my low pick, but I'm going to lean towards New England with that pick because I'm going to trust the process. But then I'm going to really look hard at the under in this game.
Because I was from the pick side of it being the low pick, that was definitely going to be the case. I mean, one of the first things that when we kind of started discussing today's show was look, if you feel like you have a definite read on this game, you are lying to yourself. Like
Right.
we like are piecing this together. Everybody is piecing this together to take a veteran backup quarterback and drop him into a game like this with these defenses. Though I am thinking the play is on the over.
Okay.
Now I don't love. So in Sandman, it locked at 41.5.
Ooh.
So 40.5, I'd be doing a jig.
Yeah.
But 41 is rough on the underside. But I do think that because of what both teams can do against the other team running the ball, we're going to see one of two things, I think. We are either going to be way under or we're going to go comfortably over.
Yeah.
So, and you know how much I hate playing overs, but that's the thing that jumped out to me is to go, there's an opportunity for a ton of variance here.
Oh, absolutely.
And if stuff starts getting weird and Denver just completely falls apart, New England might score into the 30s by themselves.
They could. If it gets
So,
weird, that's highly possible. But if this
and
happens though, it could be 30-3.
it could. You're definitely right. That like there is a ton of opportunity, and I will repeat this for I hate taking the over. The vast majority of outcomes for every game is for the absence of human achievement. So if you're not very comfortable that you think it's going to go over, it's probably going to go under. But looking at this, I think that there is a good chance that Stidham gets off a couple of passes.
Sure.
They get to 14, 21 sort of points. And then it's just, okay, can New England go cover? I think if you made me go like, what is the exact score of this game? I'm going to go 24-21,
Okay.
New England. That's what I'm going to go with, which gets me over, and it keeps Denver inside the 4.5 or the 5.5 or wherever we end up sitting. Sandman locked at 5.5. That's pretty sweet for the guy that's leaning the direction of Denver. But this may be a New England money line and the over sort of play, potentially.
If I had to pick a score, I'd probably pick 24-10 or 24-13.
Okay.
And so 24-13 is going to keep, they're both going to keep it under. But
Uh-huh.
so I think, and when you guys watch this game, right? Okay, this is how these teams do this. Denver has two times that they're going to put the ball close to the end zone. They're going to get a touchdown out of at least one of them, maybe both. Okay,
Okay.
it's going to be the first time they touch the ball because Sean Payton is going to do really good scripting his first 15 plays for Jared Stidham.
Sure.
And at the beginning of the game, you're going to see this and you're going to go, oh, Denver's got a chance. And then it's going to kind of get to where Stidham's going to have to make adjustments. New England's going to change their blitz packages. And the scripted plays are no more because you can't script the whole game. Then you go make your halftime adjustments. And Denver's going to come out with the ball, and they're going to have a good drive in that second half again. And if it's a close game, Peyton's going to try to eat a lot of clock. We've seen him do that. He's going to try to
Yeah.
make the third quarter go from 5 possessions to 2, where he takes 7 or 8 minutes off the clock. And New England's fun with that too. You see some of that. Denver did it to Buffalo. They didn't want Josh Allen to have the ball. They're not going to want May to have the ball with Stidham. There's going to be clock running.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Denver has the personnel to run the clock.
I don't know if they do, but that becomes those two series, dude. Other
Yeah.
than that, like when the game's down at the wire and Drake May punches it in a touchdown, and we're talking about a slugfest in the playoffs, right? Drake May puts it in to go up 24-10 or 24-13, or let's call it even closer than that. Let's say it's 22-13. And they think they have a shot, right? And you have to count on Jarrett Stidham, who the last time he played a meaningful football game was in the preseason. You want him to
Yeah.
orchestrate your 2-minute drive. And he's not a veteran like Teddy Bridgewater backup or Kirk Cousins backup or Phillip Rivers coming in from the high school. He was never a starter. He's a perennial backup.
Uh-huh.
He's Chase Daniel, right? He's only been a backup.
Yeah.
Can he
Look, that's not the
go?
guy to bring up. If you tell me Chase Daniel gets to play this weekend,
I know.
I'm going to figure out a way to mortgage my house.
So if you get a situation, yeah, I know with Sean Payton and him, if you get a situation where Stidham has to get into a slugfest with a perennial MVP, he's not going to win because New England's defense is not bad enough to cause this. And I don't think he's going to cover. And I think it's going to be you're going to have him with the ball going, I tried, and you're going to see the camera. Tony Romo's going to keep going. Oh, look at Bo Nix over on the sideline. He's so sad. This would be such a different game if Jim, if he was in there. Jim, could you imagine if Bo was here, how much different this would be? You just feel bad for. I mean, it's like Jesus Christ. Here we go again.
You're definitely right. You're definitely right that like
So I'm trying to
would
predict whether.
well, it would astonish me if Denver figures out a way to win this game.
Yeah, you just think it's going to stay within 5.
I think it stays with. I think they win by that 2, 3, 4 range where you're playing around with 2-point conversions and bullshit like that,
Yeah.
kicking field goals, and where it screws up
Yeah.
around your 3 number. If you're laying the 2.5 or the 3.5 in a regular spread, I think that we're going to get at least 2 short fields for Denver.
Yep. Okay.
Where they take the
like
ball
that.
from May or they pick him
that.
or something like that. And I do like your idea. I think, I'm not an expert at this part of it,
None of us
but watching these two teams, I feel like if New England wins the toss, they're going to defer.
Yes.
And if Denver wins the toss, they're going to take the ball.
Okay.
And that means, regardless, Denver's going to end up with the ball first.
Mm-hmm.
And like you said, they're going to be scripted. And if they go down there and they figure out a way to score on the first
Punch one
drive,
in. Yep.
I personally am going to start feeling real nice about that over.
Yeah.
If,
Well,
if we're
and the 4.5.
6.5 minutes into the game and they score a touchdown and you go, okay, this starts feeling real nice. Now, if it doesn't go that way, if New England goes, hey, I'm going to take the ball and I'm just going to try to break these guys' soul on the first drive. But I think from Vrabel's standpoint and Peyton's standpoint, you go make Denver go do something. And
Agree.
Peyton's going to go, I would like to do something and see if I can get the ball rolling my direction from the jump.
Yeah.
So, who knows exactly how that works out, but I feel like we start working that direction. And then all I need is both teams to get into the low 20s. And, it does worry me slight bit that if Denver was able to do what they did to Josh Allen last week, that maybe one of the middle spectrum of outcomes is they spend the entire game just whipping the crap out of May.
Maybe.
And then this goes way under.
Yeah.
And maybe they never take it away, but they just beat on him for an entire game. And this ends up being
Field position game. Clock running game.
13-10, one way or the other. And that's the extent of it. And it screws me on the over. But I think that both teams are going to be able to get a little bit of stuff rolling. And I just need, kind of both teams to score 2 touchdowns and then kick a couple of field goals. And if May does the things that he's been doing all year, and now you're playing against a defense that has spent the entire week being told that, like, you can go get this.
Yeah.
If you choose to. All you got to do is go get it. That they might go get it.
They might.
So, that's kind of my whole I'll stop beating that dead horse, but yeah, that's just
I think what's awesome is that there's a lot of ways this can go. And the message for anybody who's betting on these games is to think critically through how it could go. If you really are a bettor and whether you're going to the casino or you're playing in pools or you're playing at Sandman, and you're legitimately trying to figure out a side, you've got to think about, how does this look? Is there going to be turnovers? What does the possessions look like? How many points are going to be scored? What do these guys normally put up? What are the factors that's going to keep it from being normally put up? And if you think through all that and come to a decision on the side, roll with it. You're never going to always be right. You can only just do your best. And that's how you handicap.
Looking for 55%.
Yeah. Brandon and I are very clearly on this, both on opposite sides.
Mm-hmm.
And we're both very plausibly could be right. I mean, there's nothing saying that this isn't going to go over and Denver covers, and it happens with those short fields, and New England still wins the game, and we roll with it. And there's also nothing saying that it's not a slow played game, and New England just handles and takes care of business, and Denver can't get anything going other than some scripted moments. Both are possible. You just got to pick a side and roll with it and think that your assessment is the best.
Yeah. No, you're exactly right.
So we beat that to death.
This is a true coin flip game.
Yeah. So you just got to find your angle and stick to it and trust yourself.
Yeah.
So I fully expect on Sunday to hear from Brandon that he's on New England and the under.
Oh, I'm going to try so hard to not get myself all turned around first thing Sunday morning. I got one shot to go win Ben Harper.
Got to go get it. So now the second game of the day, to me, is a little bit more straightforward. This is where I'm going to put my higher number. I'm on Seattle. I feel that the Rams have been a little bit of Jekyll and Hyde this year. I feel that they got a little bit lucky in beating Chicago. I feel like they got a lot lucky in getting through Carolina. And I just don't think that their luck is going to continue in Seattle with the 12th man. This is a division rival. It's hard to play a division rival a third time during the season. If the spread stays under 3, which right now it looks like it's gonna,
Uh-huh.
this is a no-brainer Seattle play for me.
Yeah, unfortunately, I am right there with you.
Why is it gotta be unfortunate that we agree?
Well, because when we start agreeing, I go, are we taking the easy way out here?
Are we looking
Right?
at it the right
Like,
way?
yeah, like, am I snake bitten by both San Francisco's performance last week
Yeah.
and LA's performance up to this point and go, I have kind of been, look, I've been aware that Seattle has been good all year, but they, I think that my internal sort of balancing to where I try to peg each of the teams is potentially too influenced by watching Sam's last 2 games last year,
Yeah.
where you know that that exists inside of him.
Yeah. It does.
And look, here is what's gonna happen if it goes Seattle's direction. Seattle wins comfortably, and then we get to spend 2 weeks talking about Sam Darnold
Oh.
and where he came from and where he's gotten to. And they are going to talk about some stuff that they figured out this year that they haven't told anybody that fixed that little gap in Sam's ability to stay calm. And you're going to go, damn, if you would have, like, week 2 told us all that, we could have been incorporating that, you know, somebody gave him ayahuasca or, you know, some sort of voodoo or put him under a trance to, like, not overreact to the world burning down around him.
Right.
And, you know, you stare at 2.5 and you go, that's fun to lay.
Yeah.
The 3 points, great. And it just feels like, okay, you're just daring me to do this.
Yes, you are.
You're just going, hey, you like laying 2.5 points. Here it is. It's a
Here's
team
one
that
of
just
those.
whipped San Francisco and they're playing at home and they've been at home for weeks. And LA's flown all over God's green earth and they played in the tundra last weekend and they barely survived it. And that's not fair because the Bears barely survived it. Caleb threw a Hail Mary
Oh,
that
yeah.
technically went 16 yards. Like, that was chaos. The same way that we talked about Green Bay not winning the week before because he pulls a jump man going 13 miles an hour sideways on 4th down. Like,
He kind of did that
you,
again.
yeah, he basically, I don't think, well, I know because they keep track of these things. That's the first time anybody's ever done that since we've kept track of people doing things in football. The first time a guy's done that.
Hey, when we're done with this, you got to
So,
go back and listen to this recording and hear what you just said.
well, I just like that's like obviously we weren't keeping track of where people were on the field the last time Yale went 16-0 in the
Yeah.
1800s, right?
Yeah.
So maybe a guy got off a wild pass back then, but
Yep.
I don't remember the exact caveats, but like Monday morning, dudes were like, so anyway, Next Gen Stats said that, you know, he moved backwards this far and then threw forward that far, and that's never happened before. And you just go, of course, that is how I didn't cover the 3.5 last weekend because Caleb did another thing that nobody's ever done before.
Right.
That's insane. So now we're on to the next thing. And Seattle doesn't have a guy that does that.
No.
But they do have Kenneth Walker III,
K9.
who just pointed all of the anger that he has at the Bears and just abused them for an entire football game. And
And
now
he's fairly fresh, though, because he's been splitting with Charbonnet all year. Now, granted,
yes. And then
we don't have,
Charbonnet blew out his knee.
he's out, and which
So
is really tough because he's a good kid and a good running back.
yeah.
But K9's fairly fresh. He's going to be fine.
And they only had to play like 2.5 quarters last week.
Yeah.
You know, so you're going to be fresher. They didn't
You're
have
at
to
home.
play in some crazy weather. The weather's going to be apparently right now 43 degrees, 2-mile-an-hour winds, 1% chance of precipitation. This would be a great northwest night in January. The clear pick is to go, I'm going to lay the 2.5 points.
Yep.
Now, it worries me that Matthew Stafford has some sort of voodoo, and it's just he's gonna figure it out. Him and McVay.
Highly possible.
But last week, I wonder if Kyle Shanahan is gonna put some voodoo out there, and then he got embarrassed.
Yeah.
On this same field.
Yeah.
And so I start to wonder if this is just Seattle's year.
Yeah.
That like this is the Super Bowl. They are going to cover 2.5, and then whoever comes out of this other thing, they're going to go, I can't wait to see you guys in 2 weeks, and just wink into the camera and just go like, this is going to be dope. And just everybody trot to the locker room and start just refueling for whatever ass whipping they're going to put on whoever from the AFC comes out. So I don't know. I like the under in this too, by the way, if you have any opinions on that.
Yeah, I like the over.
You like, of course. That makes me feel better. At least we don't agree on that.
No, I like the over in this because this is where I think that as we talk scripts, McVay's going to put points up, but Seattle's going to put points up too. Stafford has a propensity, as good as he is, he'll turn the ball over. He'll probably throw a pick six at some point in time in this game.
I am worried about that.
If you get
as
good
far as the
odds on a
under.
pick six for Seattle, like in a prop, and it's like 5 plus 500 or something, it might be worth $10 bet.
You're not wrong.
Because he does do that occasionally.
Both of these home teams are going to try to win on the back of their defenses.
Yeah, they're gonna.
They're in two very different situations, but they both are playing to go, we would like to abuse the other team and that unlock us being able to win this thing.
Yeah.
And I think that, like you were saying for the other game, that this feels like we could easily have one of those 28-7 or 10 sorts of wins for Seattle.
Easy.
Where we have, them just, scoring at will in the first half and holding LA down. And then the second half is just running the ball and just going. Because, the Rams' run defense just isn't the same as these other teams' run defenses.
I do worry
Seattle will have the opportunity to control the game on the ground.
If Seattle gets up, though, I mean, Stafford has this uncanny ability, and McVay, to put a flurry of points up in the last 15 minutes.
They do. And I'm going to be chewing through my hand if we're close to this under, and you just have this team that I have kind of been rooting for all year, and now be going, nah, I'd like you guys to just pack it in and go ahead and Start
If
scheduling
it's
your vacations.
if it's 27-10 at the start of the third quarter, it's going over.
Well, fuck. Yeah.
Because
If it's
Stafford's
27
gonna.
cent,
Well, it could be.
well, you definitely could. I'm just thinking more like at the start of the third quarter, it'll be like 4-3
Maybe.
is
Think it
more what I'm
14-10.
picturing.
Think it 14-10 at half. Seattle. Actually,
Yeah.
could be 17-10. Seattle at half.
Yeah, that starts to get a little squirrely for me.
That's where I feel it's going to be at half.
Yeah,
17-10.
17 to
At
10
the
starts
end
giving
of
me
the
a little bit
third
of heartburn.
quarter, end of the third, Stafford feels like he's got a chance. He comes down. Now it's 21-24. Seattle's not going to kick a field goal. They're going to go for it. They're going to punch one in.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know.
that sort of game script is a huge problem for me.
That's how I see this
But
thing going.
luckily, Sandman locked in at 47.5. So I'm liking
Helps.
that
That
47
half
number.
helps.
It does help. And the fact that Seattle is going to want to get out of this game because they know the exact same thing that you just said, which is Stafford and Puka can just make points materialize at any point. So let's shorten the game. They have the
Run that
ability to run
ball.
the ball, do
Yep.
it, keep the clock running. Don't let Darnold do anything crazy. The Rams special teams are suspect at best.
Oh, yeah.
We could easily see another huge Shaheed return, even a touchdown. That hurts the under. But I feel more comfortable about the over in the first game and the under in the second game than I do about the lines,
Yeah,
period,
I do too.
when it comes down to it. So, we'll see between, right this second and Sunday morning, I've got, you know, 4-ish days to just think about this basically.
Yeah.
So hopefully I will find peace around whatever I end up on.
Well,
But
hopefully I've given you some things to chew on.
you have. That is without a
But
doubt.
I don't think that, like I said earlier on the other game, these games, if you think through them, there's 2 or 3 ways they could go. And to be
Yeah.
fair, they probably will. The only thing we really didn't account for in our thought process on this podcast is officials. For some reason, officials would insert themselves into the game and we start seeing some stupid pass interference calls. That benefits the Rams. It really does because
Yeah.
they have between Adams and Puka and that tight end. I think it's Higgins. I don't know. They're going to
Yeah,
get the
Higby.
calls. Higbee. They're going to get the calls. That's the one wild card that makes me a little nervous on the Rams Seattle game because if the officials insert themselves and don't let Seattle's defense to play a good, strong coverage like they've been playing all playoffs, and they decide to start throwing flags, this thing gets crooked quick. And we're going, what the hell? We're having a conversation next week
Yeah.
going, that just didn't turn out right.
Yeah.
We
No,
can't we
you
can't predict that though. That's just part of
no,
gambling.
no, there's no way around it. Like you have to decide where on the spectrum you feel like this is gonna fall in outcomes and how many of the probable outcomes get you to the side that you're gonna land on
And if
when it
anybody's
comes down
interested,
to
you
it.
can actually look up official statistics and you can find out if this crew throws a lot of penalties and you can find out
Yeah,
how many times they've officiated a Rams or a Seattle game and how many times they've called penalties on the. I mean, you can get to that depth if you have that concern.
that's a good point. That is a great thing to keep in mind because yeah, that all exists out there.
It's out there, and you can go look at it. And if this crew has thrown the least amount of pass interference penalties of any crew in the season, something to think about. If they've thrown the most, something to think about. If they've never done a Rams game or never done a Seattle game, something to think about. just to mess with
Yeah,
you, Brandon, a little bit, give you something to think about.
without a doubt.
Well, hey, I think we've given our Sandman Nation plenty to think about. I hope you guys enjoy the games this weekend. It's outstanding. Enjoy the last 3 games of the year because the fun football. I was actually a little melancholy watching the national championship game because
Uh huh.
that means I've got to wait until August for college football to come back. And I just really enjoy my Saturdays when there's college football on the television. So enjoy these
Without a
last
doubt.
few.
It's a long journey.
All right. Well, he's Brandon. I'm Nate. We're the St. Louis Syndicate. Good luck with your picks. Hopefully we helped.
Cheers.